For decades, everyone thought Vivian Vance lived in the glow of laughter, Lucy's best friend, America's favorite neighbor, the woman who could land a joke with one raised eyebrow. But behind that warm smile was someone quietly breaking. Years later, Vivian would admit the pain off camera cut far deeper than anything Ethel Mertz ever faced. Once the truth surfaced, it revealed a life marked by humiliation, abuse, illness, and a strength almost no one ever saw. Vivian Roberta Jones was born July 26, 1909, in Cherryvale, Kansas, into a strict Methodist home where her mother believed acting was wicked. Every time little Vivian sang, danced, or played pretend, she was told the stage led straight to hell. In a house of 6 children, she was the odd one out, the girl who dreamed too loudly. When the family moved to Independence, Kansas, she found her first crack of light. At school, she had a drama teacher, Anna Engelman, who encouraged her instead of shaming her. Vivian joined cheerleading, entered beauty contests, and acted in plays, then went home to a family that still tried to crush those dreams. Eventually, she made a decision. She dropped the name Jones, took the stage name Vivian Vance, and walked away from Kansas and from that emotional prison for good. In Tulsa and then Albuquerque, she found the little theater that changed her life. She was so good the locals renamed the building the Vivian Vance Playhouse. With their help, she boarded a train for New York with a suitcase, $50, and nothing but stubborn belief in herself. Broadway finally embraced her in the 1930s. Music in the air, let's face it, hooray for what? But her personal life was a quiet disaster. A first youthful marriage collapsed in jealousy and abandonment. Her second, to actor Philip Ober, turned violent as her career rose and his faded. By the mid-1940s, she was touring in The Voice of the Turtle when she mentally and physically crashed. Let's face it, I cracked up, she later said. Therapy became a lifeline. She began visiting psychiatric hospitals, not as a star, but as a survivor who recognized the pain in other people's eyes. Then, in 1951, everything changed again. Desi Arnaz and I Love Lucy producer Jess Oppenheimer saw her on stage in California and hired her to play Ethel Mertz. Lucille Ball's first reaction wasn't joy. It was panic. "You can't play Ethel. You're my age. You're too pretty." So they padded Vivian's costumes, dulled her wardrobe, and styled her to look older and heavier. Off camera, she was slim, stylish, and elegant. On camera, she was locked into dowdy Ethel for life. Her partnership with William Frawley, who played Fred, was even worse. She joked he looked old enough to be her grandfather. He overheard and never forgave her. He mocked her, drank heavily, and turned their working relationship into a long, bitter, cold war. When the studio later proposed a Fred and Ethel spin-off, he jumped at it. Vivian refused instantly. She would not spend another series trapped beside a man she despised. When Frawley died years later, she reportedly raised a glass and said, "Champagne for everyone." Behind the scenes, her body and spirit were wearing out. The abuse at home continued. She suffered infertility and a miscarriage she rarely spoke about. She poured her maternal love into Lucy's children, then went back to her own empty house. Roles dried up. A humiliating firing from a Broadway play, health scares, and depression followed. In 1973, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She endured a mastectomy, chemo, and more surgery as it spread to her bones. Still, she kept working when she could. In 1977, frail and already ill, she reunited with Lucille Ball for the special Lucy Calls the President. She suffered a small stroke during production, steadied herself, and kept performing. It was her last great appearance. In the summer of 1979, Lucy visited Vivian one final time. They laughed, cried, and avoided saying goodbye out loud. Weeks later, on August 17, 1979, Vivian Vance died. She had spent her life making millions laugh while she carried pain they never saw. Now that her story is known, it's impossible to watch I Love Lucy the same way again. not just as a comedy, but as proof of how much strength lived inside the woman behind Ethel Mertz.